Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and today's video, which is a versus video. So if you're new to my channel, basically what I do is I put one golf club against the other to find out which is the best one. You know, these can be brand new ones, they can be old ones, you know, newer models against older models, or maybe different brands against different brands, to see if you guys need to be going out and spending big bucks, or if you can actually save yourself some money and get some older equipment or maybe different branded equipment that performs just as well as the new stuff. Now, I've been doing these versus videos for quite a while, but now from going forward, I'm going to make sure I do at least one every month because you guys seem to enjoy it and I definitely enjoy it. And I've got a good few ideas for the next couple of months coming up of some good clubs to put up against each other. But today is a big one. Today, I'm putting make sure I've got the right one in my hand here, Qi35 core model, so brand new for this year, against last year's Qi10 core model. Both 10.5 degrees, both will be lofted up to 12 degrees to suit my swing, both in the same Ventus Valcor red extra stiff shaft. So this test is as fair as it can get, with that weight, by the way, on the Qi35 at the back, to mimic the heavy weight being on the back of this golf club. Now, the reason I put these two together is because, I mean, everybody will know watching this, if you've been following golf this year, two of the best players in the world who are signed with Taylormade do not play this club. They still play this one. Don't get me wrong, Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler's clubs are going to be slightly different to this. It's probably going to be glue in it, etc. You know, it's going to be small tweaks to make it tour over your generic model, but still, you know, they haven't put the brand new club in the bag. So why are we every single year putting a brand new one in there? So that's the whole reason to put this test together, to see if you should be spending, I think, well, we'll discuss the price later, you know, on this, or you can save yourself a bit of money and get the previous model. And also just a few other versus videos that I have done over the period, by the way. I put this up against the Sim 2, so check out the channel for that. I think I also put it up against the M2. I did put up against the M2, sorry. Not I think, I did also put it up against the original M2, so check out the channel for that. And last year I did put this up against the Sim 2 Max as well. So there you go. Lots of versus videos for these guys already out there, and another one today. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a close look at both these clubs. I'm going to come back in here, go through the technology that's in both of them, and just what the slight differences are. Obviously, if you want in-depth reviews for both these clubs, do check out the channel because they're both currently on there already. Then I'm going to get down to the range. I'm going to throw some figures at you, and then we're going to come back here and discuss an overall winner and discuss why one club has won. Because let's be honest, sometimes it might not necessarily be how good each club is, but one club could be more suited to you over another. So there you go. All right, now without further ado, let's have a close look at these two clubs. So there you go, and both good looking clubs, as you'd expect from Taylormade. Personally for me, definitely prefer the Qi35. I love this carbon fibre look. Only issue I have with it is a very big profile, but they all are nowadays, where they're trying to put as much weight in the back to increase that MOI as much as possible. Very much like the Qi10 as well here. I wouldn't say there's a huge amount of difference there. I think this one might be a little bit more squatter. I definitely said it's got a taller face. Behind the ball, I did notice that this face was a little bit taller than this one, obviously, because it's been elongated out a little bit longer, because obviously you can't change the 460cc. That is the maximum allowance. But yeah, further looks of this personally, even though I do like a smaller shape myself, a bit more of a player shape, But yeah, been a mainstay in my bag this year. And the Qi10, wasn't a huge fan of the looks when it first came out, but they've definitely grown on me over the years, seeing more and more of these clubs out there. So yeah, not bad at all. Now let's get into the technology between these two clubs and explain what is different and what is the same. So first things first, same. Carbon fibre face. There you go. Twist face as well. You've got carbon crown on the top also, which is infinity right to the top. There you've got carbon on the bottom as well to move around the weights. You've got the moments of inertia as well. You've got your speed pockets. Obviously all these things have been technically even more finely tuned into this because they've been in Taylormade clubs for years. The only real big difference between these two clubs is, number one, the front weight on the Qi10 is a little bit more towards that sort of the heel of the club. There you go. While the Taylormade Qi35 is right in the middle, and you don't have interchangeable weights for the Qi10. Obviously you can replace these weights if you want to, but with the Qi35 you can move the heavy weight, which is 13 gram at the back, and move that to the front to make this a low spin bomber. We don't have that option with the Qi10, so there was definitely a little bit of difference there, but not a huge amount, to be honest. I mean, the technology is pretty much exactly the same. Let's be honest, it's probably exactly the same in Stealth too. Stealth maybe didn't really hit the mark with the Stealth, to be honest, when they did the carbon fibre, but still, you know, the technology has been around for years. Taylormade have been using it. You know, they're not going to suddenly just change the wheel when they try and build these clubs because they've worked. But there you go. Now, so there's the technology differences. I will say one thing, head cover game. I prefer the Qi10. The Qi10 for some reason just looks better quality than the Qi35 one. I don't know why. It just seems like all crumpled, the Qi35. Well, this one just looks, yeah, they've got the head cover worse. I don't know how they've managed that, but somehow they have managed that. But there you go. All right, so there you go. We've gone through a little bit brief about the technology. As I mentioned, if you want a real in-depth look at both these clubs, do check out the reviews on the channel. Now, without further ado, let's get down to the range and throw some very important figures at you. So here I'm down at the range with the Qi10 and the Qi35. 4 shots with the Qi35 first, and then 4 shots with the Qi10. Now let's get into those numbers for the Qi35 first. So on average I had a carry of 251 yards, total distance of 267 yards, ball speed 161 miles per hour, launch angle 13 degrees, and height 94 feet. A little bit into a headwind, so that's why I had quite a good carry, but not necessarily roll out because it did get held up a little bit. Longest on the day was 256 yards, total distance at 274 yards with a ball speed of 161 miles per hour, launch angle 14 and height 97 feet. Now let's jump into the Qi10. So on average I had a carry of 245 yards, total distance 262 yards, ball speed 160 miles per hour, launch angle 11 and height 81 feet. Total, well, the longest on the day for the Qi10 was a carry of 257 yards, total distance 274 yards, ball speed 163 miles per hour, launch angle 11 and height 87 feet. So both longest, exactly the same distance. Shortest with the Qi35 was 263 yards total. With the Qi10 it was 254 yards total. So a little bit of a drop off there, but that's just down, you know, to basically which club I put the worst swing on. And that was definitely, I think, at the time, the Qi10. Feel-wise, exactly the same relatively, you know. Control-wise, again, pretty much exactly the same. Visual, obviously, they are slightly different because they do look a little bit different. But one thing to note is the launch. You know, with that Qi35, I was getting a launch of 13 degrees. Here's a table, by the way, of those averages for both the clubs. With the Qi10, though, I was going to get 11 degrees. So that's really what sort of made those figures different, and that's why the Qi35 sort of did better on average than the Qi10 because of that launch, because I was able to get up in the air quicker than the Qi10. But really, let's be honest, I will go into a lot more detail about this in a second, but not really that much separating the two. It's just I managed to get one up in the air more. So there you go, and on paper there is a clear winner, as I've already mentioned with the Qi35. You know, just running through those figures again. On average, 251 yards carry, 267 yards total distance, ball speed 161 miles per hour, launch angle 13 degrees and height 94 feet. while with the Qi10, only 245 yards carry, 262 yards total distance, ball speed 160 miles per hour, launch angle 11 and height 81 feet. So on average with the Qi35, I was getting an extra 6 yards of carry, an extra 5 yards total distance, ball speed of 1 miles per hour, launch angle 2 degrees better, and a more height of 13 feet. So overall numbers, you would say this for me, and we'll get into why potentially there isn't a difference between these at all in a second. Longest on the day, both were 274 yards, so 257 yards carry, 274 yards total distance, ball speed 163 miles per hour, so really happy with that. Launch angle 11 degrees and height 87 feet. While with the Qi35, we had a carry of 256 yards, 274 yards total distance, so exactly the same. Ball speed 161 miles per hour, so a little bit less, but height 14 degrees. Launch, so height 97 feet, so just stayed in the air a little bit longer, even though the ball speed was better with this to get that sort of same distance. And one thing as well, say, as I mentioned already, you know, these were into wind, so I'd expect this actually on a less windy day to get these both further. Now, shortest though, that's where the difference comes in here, and that's probably where the average really drops. Now, shortest for this was 237 yards carry, 254 yards total distance, and a ball speed 159 miles per hour. While with this, it was 247 yards carry, 263 yards total distance, a ball speed 161 miles per hour. So the lowest with this was actually quite a lot further than this, and that's probably what brought that average down. However, dispersion wise, this was 7% better. So 7% of my shots found a fairway more with this over this. It was quite interesting. I would not expect that at all because I'm really dialed in with this. So there you go. Sometimes, you know, if the shortest isn't great, I'd rather be on the fairway than be longer and in the tree. So not bad at all. So there's a rundown in all those figures. Now, before I get into my final conclusion, I just want to go through the ACS Golf scale as well quickly for both these drivers, because obviously I both reviewed them. So remember, ACS Golf scale, we've got 5 categories: distance, feel, looks, price and forgiveness. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. And for these, they did exactly the same throughout. Distance, both 4 out of 5. Feel, both 4 out of 5. I couldn't really tell you the difference between the feel between both of these. They both are that sort of carbon fiber feel from Taylormade, which is unique and actually I quite enjoy, to be fair. I do enjoy the feel of them. Both felt really nice off the face. Looks wise, it's the only difference here. I gave that a 4.5 and I gave that a 3.5 at the time. Wasn't a huge fan of the looks at the time and that sort of shiny top, but I definitely warmed up to it. So maybe a little bit harsh on the look score there, but that is definitely just my perspective. Forgiveness, giving these both a 4 out of 5. Now, you could say, really, obviously with the lowest with this, then yes, this has more forgiveness. And I definitely think that this does potentially, because it's got higher MOI, it's over 9K. That's not quite there with this. However, this has got bundles and forgiveness. So I definitely wouldn't put this in a 4.5 category. And I definitely wouldn't put this in a 3.5 category. So in the 4, you'd probably top this up a little bit more. However, you know, that's not bad at all with that. So there you go. So yeah, so exactly the same. They are exactly the same performance for me. It's just on the day I hit that better than this, and that's what can happen. But let's go into the results and why I don't think this is a clear-cut conclusion that the Qi35 is a better driver. Now, for me, sitting here right now for you guys with all the testing, all the equipment, my setup, and with the shaft I've got, this is the better driver for me. And that's because of the launch. So I was launching this, as I mentioned, 2 degrees more than this. I was getting more height, 94 feet over 81 feet. So this was launching higher and staying in the air for longer than the Qi10. Remember, the only difference in miles per hour is 1 mile per hour. It's really not that big. Believe me, you know, I did get a few shots of this under 160 just as this. And the longer, well, actually the hottest shot, you would say, with the best ball speed was with the Qi10. You know, so that's the difference. And this is why the Qi35 has won it, because with the setup and my swing, this launch is better and it gives me more height. So therefore, I'm always going to be getting more distance over this, which has been launching a little bit lower and not giving me as much height. And that's where the numbers come in, because, you know, you're looking at the lowest there, 254. I only launched that at 10 degrees and height 72 feet. So it's not getting up in the air as much. While with the shortest one for this, 12 degrees, that's 2 degrees more, height 84 feet. It's been in the air for longer, it's peaked out higher, and therefore it's going to travel longer. And that's why the worst shot with this was better than this one. Should do it that way, really. Don't know why I keep on showing you the top of it. Was better than this one because the launch was more optimal for my swing and my shot. So yes, on paper, this has won it. However, someone trying this completely different, who maybe launches the ball too high, would prefer this because it launches lower. Therefore, it helps get more distance, because, you know, with this, if I was ballooning this and I was launching it 16, 17 degrees or something like that, I'm really losing distance. So it does depend on your swing, because if you're a high launcher of the ball, you'd want to go for a club that generally launches lower to keep that spin down and to get that optimal flight. While this, with the way it's set up for me, could increase it. Now, one thing I could have done with this is then increase this to actually 12.5 degrees, and then maybe perhaps that would have given me a better optimal launch and therefore actually match these numbers better. But obviously, because I wanted to keep this test as fair as possible, I kept them both at the same situation. So yes, on paper, we have a clear winner. We have the Qi35. However, I've proven with both the fact they both had exactly the same longest shots. They are so similar. It just depends on what you need as a player. And that's the thing. They are slightly different with the way they launch the ball. This is definitely tuned perfectly for me, the way it's launching it. However, if you need a lower launch, go for this one, because this is definitely launching lower. So overall, yes. And just quickly mention the price, by the way. You know, Qi35 at the moment, brand new, £529 in the UK, around $600 in the US. Qi10 is £379 in the UK, brand new, and $400 roughly. You know, for me, if I was going to go out and spend out money, go and get myself fitted for a new club, I could definitely get myself fitted into this to get this optimized to my swing, and it give me exactly the same, probably even better performance than this. So there you go. So a bit of a twisted conclusion there. So for me, in this versus video and my setup, because of the launch and the overall height factor, the Qi35 wins it, and it wins it well. However, if I was fitted for, and for anyone else here, you know, out there, these are exactly the same. In my mind, these are exactly the same. They have a slight different properties. Like I mentioned, this does launch lower. But if you get fitted for either of these clubs, you're going to be maximizing distance. So go save yourself some money, get the Qi10. Tours have proven this year, you know, there's obviously something in this setup that they don't want. And so they've gone for this because it helps with their setup. It's perfect for their setup. It's not the fact they can't get the same ball speed off it. They just want this because it helps them launch the ball the way they want it. And that's why Rory's still using it. And that's why Scottie's using it as well. So versus video. So as I mentioned, conclusion, I've done this about 5,000 times now. For me, the winner is the Qi35. But overall, these are so similar. Whatever suits your swing, you'll get maximum performance out of it. Believe me. So give them both a go, because maybe this will work for you, or maybe this one will work for you. But one thing I do know is they're very similar. And believe me, if you go and get yourself fitted for either, they're going to match it, because they're both great drivers. And if anything, save yourself money, get the Qi10, or save yourself even more money, go and get the Sim 2 Max. All right, guys. Now, I hope you enjoyed this review. Do let me know in the comments down below, before I break these two clubs, which one would you go for out of the two? Also, do remember to give this a like if you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you do not miss out on versus videos that come out once a month. We've got golden oldie videos, so that's reviews of pre-2010 clubs that come out once a month. We've also got brand new clubs reviews that come out every now and again on a Friday, and also every week we have one review of your sort of older golf clubs. Well, basically just not brand new ones. They could be last year's models, etc. You know, that hopefully could save yourself a bit of money on the second-hand market. So do hit that bell icon and do subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, I'll catch you soon for the next ACS Golf video. See you then. Bye-bye.